In this video, we're going to learn on how to review report using Axios and Jasper Report. So now, without any further ado, let's get started. To start with, I'll be using MySQL, and for our table, I'll be using this table customer with the sample code. So later on, I'll be using this data to preview our report, and afterwards, we'll be using that report to display or preview in Axios. So let's start. To start with, I'm going to create a new project. If you are on this screen, just select this Jasper Report project and hit next. And for our project, I'll be named this as Project Customer. Now that we have our project, the next thing we need to do now is to create a report. So to do that, let's start with creating a new, then select Jasper Report. So if you're here, let's pick with the blank A4. Hit next. And we're going to say store that in our project folder. And I'm going to name this as Customer. And finish. Let's move this a little closer. Okay, so let's prepare our database. To do that, we need to right-click our customer, the reports, and click Dataset and Query. From here, make sure you already set up your adapter. So if you do, just select the sample DB connection. Then I'm going to pick that database and with a table. For better preview, this is the table that we have. Going to pick here the diagram, then drag the customer. For this demo, I won't be using all these columns here, but instead I'm going to pick some few records only or few columns. Let's say start with customer code, customer name, cost city, working area, and customer country. Okay, so once you're satisfied with that one, then click with fields. Make sure that that data should be appear on the bottom or the selected column, and hit OK. In this section here, if you drop down or drop this section here, these are the fields that we select a while ago. So let's drag that to our reports. So to do that, make sure you drop that in the detail section. So let's start with dragging custom code, customer code. Okay, let's move that here. Next, I'll be dragging this customer name. Okay, so next is this customer city. Next, we're going to drag this working area. Let's so make sure these are all aligned. So let's do some arrangement first before we okay, this one. So let's do a test preview and see how it goes in our report. And there you go. So right now, okay, cool. So this one is okay. So let's fix everything to complete this report. So to do that, I'm going to delete some of the sections. Let's say I'm going to delete this page header and column footer, page footer, and summary. Then after that, make sure you compress the section so that it will be displayed in a compressed manner. Okay. Then going to drag a field or a static text. I'm going to name this as customer list. And make sure you're going to center that according to your design. So either way, so let's do some cleanup here first before we do some preview. While I'm doing this, you can get the code for the table that I'm using right now. I'm just going to post that in the description below so that you can follow along. Okay, so let's preview this now. Okay, cool. So let's finalize this one. See to it that everything is on alignment. So take note, this is only a basic step. So if you want to know more about Jasper Report, just check my previous tutorial. But for now, our goal is we need to prepare first our report. Okay, so this one's okay. Let's increase our header. Very cool. Now to make it more effectively, we're going to perform a filter for this section so that once we do a search, we can search according. So for here, let's say I'm going to filter that by customer city. So that should be a good one. So to do that, let's go back to our design and let's head back to our customer, dataset, and query. Okay. If you're in this section, make sure you know a basic query. So any database should work. Should do. So just perform the basic query for that. So, but here we don't have these sections for the requirements that we need. What we need to do first is we need to create first a parameter that will serve as our parameter input. Let's call that as param. We're going to search for cost city, param city. So let's name that as param city, and our string should be Java string. So this should be a string. Okay, so let's post that. So to do that, we need to copy this one, then head back to our query. So from here, let's go with the basic query from where cost city is equals to $p as times for param or parameter and the parameter variables. So let's read the field. Okay. So make sure that we don't have an error. So like this one. So this is where we know that what will be the error within. So here it's looking for customer city. So let's complete that. Then click with field. And there you go. So now that we don't have any errors, let's try. Okay, let's complete this one. Let's put a code so that this will be reference as string. So if we click with field, okay, so no need. We can remove this code. Okay, so same goes. So let's click OK for that, then hit preview. Okay, so let's try with USA. Okay, so there is no USA. So let's check our table just to make sure. Oh, we have, sorry, New York. So we have New York. So let's copy that and paste that here. And there you go. Okay, so New York is here. So let's try one more. So let's say I'm going to pick with Mumbai. Let's try to search that. And there you go. So we're going to reset that. So just clear this field here, then hit enter. Okay, so I guess that didn't reset. So it doesn't matter. For the last time, we're going to pick one more. Let's say London. And there you go. Okay, cool. Now that we prepare our report, the next thing we need to do now is we need to publish this report to our server. So to do that, we need to connect to our server. For you guys, if you want to know how to set up your report server, please check my video tutorial on Jasper Report. Just to make sure, seems this will take a little longer. So we head back to our browser just to check our connection. Need to type localhost 8080. So that's the server IP. Let's see which one is connected. Okay, so I guess our our server is already connected. While waiting for the browser, let's continue with this one here. So right now, we're going to export that report, and we're going to publish that in this section here, in the report section. Okay, so let's try. So in our customer, make sure you save that, and then going to publish that here. Click this publish file on Jasper Report. Then from here, pick the server. On the server, pick the reports. Okay, so I'm going to set up in here only, just within the report, and hit next. Okay, so we need to include the parameter. Okay, for the data source, okay, we won't be needing the data source for now. We just hit publish or finish. Okay, so right now it says success. So let's check our server. Let's check this HTTP. Okay, sometimes it will take a while. The same goes with the local here. So it doesn't matter as long. Okay, so let's. We need to wait for a while. Okay, maybe I should copy this complete setup here. That is still reading. So let's open a new field. Okay, for those who don't or first time on using Jasper, the Jasper is come up with the Jasper server. So this is where you're going to host your reports from Jasper Studio. Now, if you want to learn more about these things, you need to log in or check my video tutorial on Jasper Report. Okay, so right now we are now on the page. So hit login. Okay, so let's check our reports. Okay, so under reports, this is our, okay, under this section here, we already have the customer. But if you're going to click this one here, okay, okay, let's say New York. Okay. For now, this is still empty because we need to set up one more, which the connection. So to do that, we need to head back here. And we need to modify this customer. So before you're going to modify the customer connections, we need to make sure that we have our data source. So in here, there's a bunch of connections here. So I'll be using this server JDBC, and I'm going to copy that and paste here. Okay. So that I will going to use these connections as our primary source. So then once you're done, just click edit. Okay, So from here, we're going to pick the database that we use. But for my example, I am using MySQL. Okay, make sure all the information here are correct. If everything's okay, just hit test connection. Okay, so there's an error here. So let's check why. Localhost, DB name. Okay, our database is DB sample. So I'm going to replace that. So it should be DB sample. So the port is okay. Username should be root. But for this demo, I don't have a password, so I just remove this one here. Then hit test connection. Once you see this connection pass, which means this is okay. But first, I'm going to... Yeah, I think it's okay now. So I'm going to click save. Okay. For the name, I would suggest to rename this one. So for me, just for me to easier to find, I'm going to name this as customer connection or connection. Okay, so just make sure you save that on the specific folder so that it's easy or traceable. And then hit save. Okay, so oh, it's not here. Where is that? Let's refresh this once more. Ah, here. Okay, there you go. So this is the connection that we're looking at. So this is connection that we set up. So now we're going to apply that in our report. So head back to that report. On our customer or report section, on the customer, hit the edit. Then locate this data source. So this is the connections that we need. And here, going to select this. Select data source from the repository. Okay, so then hit browse. And from here, let's pick that connection. We're going to pick this customer connection. Hit select. Then once you select, hit submit. Okay, cool. So now let's try this by simply double click the report or simply one click on. Okay, so let's try. New York. And apply. Let's just click OK. Okay. So right now, it works. So you can see our connection with our server is now working. So now let's connect this to our connection report to the Axios that we're going to work on. So let's set to that section. And for now, so make sure that you're already done in this section before proceeding to that part. So if everything is set, so let's create our connection. To begin with, I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to name this as project customer. If you're using VS Code, just follow along. But if you're using a different IDE, the concept is still the same as long as you have installed Node.js. So from our terminal, I'm going to From our terminal, I'm going to just initialize. Okay. Now, okay, good. Okay, so from here, we're going to install our package. Okay, so the package required here is we need the Express and Axios. Then we need to save that as well. Oops, so I missed some part. Should be npm install, so or I, and enter. Okay, good. So that one's done. Let's clear this up. So here, let's examine first our package. So as of the time which this recording, our Express is version 4.17 and our Axios is 0.23. Now let's add one more. So to do that, we need to add one more package. Okay, seems my PC is starting to get slow here. Good. Okay. Let's add one more, and we're going to add this request. Okay. So what it does is this will perform the auto request. If you're familiar with this kind of setup, so request is simply a package that gets the URL request from the host or the server side. Okay, good. We're done. Okay, now let's proceed with our entry point by creating our entry point. Just type server.js. Okay, so from here, let's proceed with the basic stuff. So let's say cons express equals to require express. Then here, into type the cons app equals to request of not request, should be express. Okay, and cons should be cons up. Okay, express. There you go. Okay, I'm going to connect that with app.listen. Going to load that to port 4000. Then We need to pull our console log. Application is listen report 4000. Okay, so let's try that one. For here, going to use Node server. Yeah, so right now this one is working. So let's set up now the connectivity. So basically what we need to do is we need to apply the Axios, and from that request we can set up that calling the Axios from the first from the request, and make sure that request should be applied, or rather when we call the request, we should apply a connectivity using these basic connections. Okay, so let's continue for this one. Okay, so from here, let's call our routes. Okay, so these test routes, this is the section we're going to pass the request. So to do that, let's start first with the basic routes by simply typing app.get. Okay, need to slash that. Okay. Then we need to perform function. Oops. Res. So let's try a trial JSON here to pass this message. This is the test. Okay, so let's check once more. This one is an error here. app.get slash function request here. There. Oh, should not be here, should be here. Okay, so let's try this first just to make sure that everything is okay. So we need to head back here, localhost. But first we need to reset this one. Okay, so then let's start with localhost 4000. And there you go. So this one is working quite cool. Now there's one thing I want to emphasize here. Okay. Since I'm going to perform a request, a while ago we added this package request. I think we can remove that. We won't be needed the request, but instead we can already do that using Axios. So let's remove that package first and install. Okay, so we're just focusing on the Axios and Express for this one. Because basically, if you're working with Axios, it's already prepared or doing the request command. So there's no need for us to install or using the request. This one should be fine. So let's head back to our server. This time, we're going to modify this. Let's begin by set up the requirements. So for here, I'll be calling the Axios. Okay, so then from that Axios, let's perform going to replace this one here. So we're going to call the path for the request. So to do that, let's begin with going to call the cons URL equals to, just going to copy this URL. Okay, should copy that and place that in here. Okay, now for you to be able to access that, we'll be using the REST version 2. So to do that, let's pass the REST version 2 slash. Okay, in this section here, we need to pass the report location. So to do that, we need to head back to our report here. Okay, then from here, we need to click back. Then right-click this report, then select properties. Notice that this was under with this path. We need to copy that. Okay. Aside from this one, make sure you know we need to include the root path. So to do that, we need to ensure which path it is. So here we need to include these reports. So going back to our code, should be, oops. Okay, this should be reports as our root directory and the location of the report. Okay, so that should be the proper way of calling the report. Also, okay, so this should be cons. Okay. Also, since we're going to preview that in our browser, we'll convert these accordingly. So right now, I'm going to convert this to PDF. PDF is the best choice for the preview. Then, okay. Now this time we're going to prepare the rest of the requirements. So first thing foremost, what are the requirements we need? So here, I'm going to include the following. So okay. Let's try with so let's pass first the parameters. Parameters is the very important. This is the one we called in our query a while ago. And as you remember, our parameter use here is okay. So we need to pass these param CPs. We need to copy that, place that in here. So for demo, I'll be using the New York. Okay. Then, so we need to pass now this command to file. So I'll be using the Axios request. Then let's perform the get request from Axios and pass the URL. Then need to hit comma. Then need to hit enter. Okay. Also, here we're going to pass the params. This is the parameter. So need to pass the params from the declaration. Okay, there you go. So this is the params from here. So I need to pass it here. Also, need to add it with the response type. So we're going to convert that as to stream, comma, then our authentication. This authentication is the login code or the login authentication from the server. So by default, we're going to use the username. So by default, if you're starting with Jasper server, the default is Jasper admin if you're using the community version. Right now I'm using the community. The same goes, going to put this basic authentication, Jasper admin. Okay, so we have some. Let's save that. Let's check everything. Why? Okay, so from here, I'm going to close that. Let's check this. Why this one is an error? Expected comma. So you get URL. Okay. There should be this one, curly braces. Okay. Just to make sure. Ours here. Let's just remove this one. Authentication. Okay. We have the out. Okay, so we did one more. Okay. So this one is for this one. That one. Okay, so that one is closed. So next, we need to return that by simply return using write head. We need to pass that to 200 requests, and then let's return that or convert that into content type. Okay, for the content type, since we're going to return that request in our browser, we're going to return this as a application PDF. So it should be application PDF. Okay. Now, so let's call our file. So this is from the Axios, passed down with the data type. Then we proceed with the rest. Okay, so that should be it. Okay, since we're dealing with Axios, I would suggest to use the async. So async, and then we need to pass here the await. Okay. Now, okay, that should be fine. Let's save. Okay, let's review everything before we proceed with this one. Okay, so we're passing that in the default of the URL. So we're using this Axios only, and we're submitting the request. So just a short line for the preview report. So okay, so right now we already prepared this parameter CT. So we can use this by default where we're passing New York as our parameters. Let's try. Hope this works. Okay, so let's try that in our browser. So in here, okay, but for that, I'm going to run this code. Okay, so I suppose that's already running. And let's start with the browser. Let's reload this one. And there you go. Okay, so this one's working. So let's try one more. So let's say I'm going to pick another CC here. So let's say Chennai. I'm going to copy Chennai. Simply replacing the params. Save. And cancel. Clear. Yeah, that's an error. Okay. And run that again. So right now we're going to filter the Chennai location. And from here, let's go back to here, then reload. And there you go. Cool. So let's head back to that code. Okay. So feel free to post this video so that you can see how this goes. Okay, cool. So that's it, guys. So this is how. Let's make this a full screen. Okay. So since my screens, let's move this closer. Okay, there you go. Cool. So that's it, guys. So this is how you generate or preview a report from Jasper Report. You are directing or passing the reports using Axios in Node.js. Okay? So again, if you found this video informative, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. See you guys on the next video series. Cheers!